Yo, how's it going everybody? You got Sketch here and welcome back to the channel. On this episode we're taking a look at an FPS from 2024 that G-Man Lives reviewed on his channel a while back, and even now the aesthetic resonates with his channel animations, and when I saw it, I knew I had to play it. We're checking out Mullet Madjack, developed by Hammer95 Studios and published by Epopeia Games, releasing to the PC in 2024 and getting its long-awaited Xbox port in March of 2025. This game is absolutely insane and also a love letter to 80s and 90s anime, with numerous references in addition to over-the-top gameplay. But before banging on too much more, let's check out the story. In the year 2095, robot billionaires have taken over and human beings have become slaves to dopamine. Jack Banhammer, also known as the Moderator, is hired by the Peace Corps and embarks on an adventure to rescue the influencer during a sponsored livestream. Your task is terminating the billionaires and their leader Mr. Bullet, all for a nifty pair of shoes as the prize. The audience is in the chat and on the edge of their seats, but the question is, will you get the girl and the kicks? Gameplay wise, you've got a roguelite FPS where you scale a skyscraper that isn't Nakatomi Plaza in order to delete each billionaire with several weapons at your disposal. There is a catch though. You only have 10 seconds to get to each floor's exit, but each kill adds time back to the clock, letting you smoke your way to the top, one cyborg at a time. You can dispatch your enemies in several different ways, either by bullet, quick strike, or random objects like crowbars, machetes, and even VHS tapes. Just don't forget to be kind and rewind. You can also punch and kick your enemies into hazards on each floor, from electric fences, power grids, pits, and laser traps. The vending machines double as an extra hazard that will dispense sodas to regain time with too. You also get an arsenal that you can rotate through and upgrade up to 3 times in the game shop in between each floor, and this also features a randomized card system where you can equip modifiers and new weapons. The fully upgraded shotgun straight up slaps, and the plasma rifle and railgun shred the ops like printer paper. What's even better is dual wielding Mac 11s or a second shotgun, which rapidly demolishes whatever is in its way. There are several abilities you'll use on each floor, like dashing, sliding, and eventually wall running to get to each exit. This took a second to get used to, but once it's dialed, you can string some crazy kill chains together and nimbly slice through everything at breakneck speed. You can also run through rooms with swords and just melee attack everything too if you prefer getting up close and personal. The combat is awesome here, and it will constantly mix up the encounters and tactics needed to get through each room. The roguelite structure of the game makes it so every run is completely different as you go through 70 plus floors. No run is the same, and your journey to the influencer will be different compared to the other contestants, which is pretty sick. The only rooms that will be the same are the boss encounters, which will all have different mechanics in defeating them. There's even a battle which takes it back to the days of turn-based RPGs, and this is a hilarious battle when you get to it. There's also a boss where the fight is finishing moves only, and smoking this boss is very satisfying as it darts around the arena. This all reaches the climax once you get to the top floor and battle Mr. Bullet, as it is a multi-stage boss fight that is peak anime cinema as you go from the roof to the streets in an all-out road adventure style encounter, with the influencer giving you a hand behind the wheel. The action stays dialed during the run, and the element of the clock always ticking down always makes you think on your feet, but also challenge you to get creative and add more time back to your reserves. Graphics wise, Mullet Madjack runs on the Unity engine, and this is one of the best games I've seen use the engine, especially in the FPS genre. The amount of things that happen and the speed of the game is truly something to behold, and it's also a very colorful game that legit puts you into an 80s or 90s anime. With the roguelike structure of the game, it's sick that every room will be different, and the amounts of obstacles you happen across are also a nice mix of hazards and hurdles. The wall running is pretty sick once you get the hang of it, and sliding downhill kicking every op into a laser wall is also buttery smooth. If I had to compare this to something, Hotline Miami does come to mind, except for now it's in first person, and honestly just as violent with its finishing moves and weapons that annihilate robots expeditiously. Dashing around each floor will have the game moving at a brisk pace as you get to each exit, and this game doesn't miss a beat as you shoot and stab every robot in your path. The amount of ways you can move through each room and dispatch your enemies is kind of uncanny, and it's satisfying deleting each robot that stands between you and the exit, all with style. The art style is a callback to 80s and 90s anime, and the references are almost never ending. OGs will likely recognize the dozens of references to classic anime, and it becomes a game within a game to name all of them outside of the obvious ones like Akira and AD Police, amongst numerous others. The character models are all robotic minions, and they're all trying to stop you from getting to the exit, but you and your arsenal will give those robots the business. The game also holds a steady frame rate of 60 frames per second, but there are times when the game does drop frames, and occasionally crashes to the desktop. There were also a few times where the game froze on the loading screen right before the final cutscene, which was a known bug from the PC release that made it into the console console version code. This has been patched since the Xbox port release, but damn, it was rough thinking that I possibly need to start this entire game over again. There are a lot of cutscenes here, and your correspondent from the Peace Corps is in constant contact over the livestream, providing some witty banter and metrics as you move through each room. The cutscenes are often hilarious and drive that OG anime feel home even further. And by the end, you'll have a vehicle chase segment leading into the final cutscenes of the game, and this part is also pretty damn funny. Sound-wise, Mullet Madjack is fantastic with its soundtrack and audio work. The soundtrack is full of synthwave and 80s style power ballads from Fernando Pepe and Mateus Pilati. The soundtrack is all grooves that will be in the backdrop to your merciless spree of robot destruction, and form fits the retro aesthetic of the OG anime scene. There's a good bit of dialogue throughout the game's run from the main and supporting characters, and the Peace Corps correspondent will be in your ear and the chat until you get those sneakers at the finish line. The dialogue is not taking itself seriously, and at times is leading into some over-the-top anime tropes. The story is typical action movie fare with a social media twist, and it's got some fun fourth wall breaks in it that will make you laugh. Banhammer also has a few one-liners and certain cards that will make you rifle off even more as you delete Robillionaires, and these are all nods to OG shooters from the 90s. Gunfire and Foley art as you blast and pummel everything in front of you has some nice weight with explosions and some proper bass with each knife going through a robot skull. All around, the audio smokes on all cylinders, and if you got a penchant for synthwave and 80s action one-liners, well, you've come to the right place. To sum it up, Mullet Madjack is badass, and it's also one of the most fun FPS games I've played in a little while. The roguelike structure always makes it a unique experience on each run, and the action stays dialed, only letting up on the game's credit sequence. Having a variety of difficulty settings, in addition to the card system that can adjust things further, gives you ways to figure out how everything works while watching blood and circuits fly. Mullet Madjack gets a 9 out of 10 and comes highly recommended to FPS fans looking for something different that's just as flashy as it is challenging. Depending on what sort of role you get, the game will have you stringing some wild combos together with platforming to progress, and it's a blast from start to finish. The art style and gameplay are a great change of pace if you're looking for certain new shooters to throw into your rotation, and if you like classic anime, you'll appreciate it even more. This is available on the PC and Xbox, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for future Hammer95 games, as this was great to play through several times now. It's currently on Xbox and PC Game Pass and is digital only. Though this ever gets a physical release, it is a day one cop. Either way, if you're into FPS games or just fast-paced games in general, play this one however you can. And I thank you so much if you made it this far into the video, and if you find these videos helpful, that's awesome. Glad you can use it as a resource. Check back often, we'll have more reviews and commentaries come up in the near future. But until then, take it easy and stay safe out there. I'll see you on the next one.